Hi, I'm Christina, and this is New Ways Podcast. Today, my guest is an actor, author, and mental health advocate, Sid Mallya. Thank you for being here with me.
I'm back.
You're back.
These viewers are going to be like, what the fuck? Does she not know anyone else? Like, why is this guy here again?
I don't. You're my only friend, Sid.
I know.
But you have so much valuable insight.
No, we do. We have fun chatting. And I like having the opportunity to come and chat to you because I always feel like it's a very easy conversation, but we also get to touch upon pretty like intense stuff in a non-intense way.
Yeah, well, that's what I aim for too, and that's why I love having you as a regular as well. As I would rather have somebody on who I know is self-examined and is coming from a good place versus just a random person who I haven't had an in-depth conversation with, and I don't know what they have to offer. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, I do have guests on that I've met once or twice, and I hope that they have a good heart, and they seem like they do based on their field and their perspectives. But I know you, Sid, and I love you, and you have some extremely valuable insights to give to people. So thank you for being on again.
Thank you for having me back. Yeah.
The topic we are discussing today is societal standards and expectations. And Sid kind of came up with this topic, so I'm going to hand it over to him.
Yeah, I kind of came up with this topic because I'll give everyone a little bit of background. Christina asked me before we shot this episode, like, would you be happy talking about why you stopped drinking and all that kind of stuff? And because I wasn't an alcoholic or an addict, I just chose to stop because I didn't think it was enhancing my life in any way. And she was like, would you be good to talk about that? And I was like, absolutely. I said, but I think what we can do is go a step further and talk about kind of the pressures that society puts on us. And for a lot of people who do want to stop drinking, why they can't. And a lot of it isn't to do with the fact that they don't have willpower. It's to do with the fact that they believe that it's just the done thing. Well, all my friends do it, so I have to do it. Well, going out for a drink after work is the norm, so I have to do it. And that just kind of like got me thinking about what are those things in life that we either end up doing or think that we can't stop doing just because, well, everyone does it kind of thing.
That's so funny because when I think of like peer pressure, I think of somebody flat out in your face being like, do it, do it, do it. Which a lot of times too, when you stop drinking and I'm actually curious how you manage it because you got some wild friends.
I've had some, the friends are fine. All right. And this is it. The close friends have been nothing but supportive. Not a single instance of peer pressure. Mm-hmm. It's all these fucking like people on the periphery. By the way, can I swear? Because I've been like swearing
yes, you
like
can swear.
left, right, and center in all these episodes.
Yes.
It's the people who know you, but aren't like within the close circle.
Yeah.
They're the ones. They're like, you know, I've been at parties where they've been like, go on, Sid, have a drink. I was like, no, I'm good. You know I stopped drinking. They're like, yeah, but come on, just one. I was like, no, you know I don't drink. Funnily enough, my grandmother has been like to me, she's like, come on, have a glass of wine. I was like, I haven't drunk for 7 years. Have a small one. No. Fine, she gets a pass because she's fucking 98 years old and doesn't really know what's going on. But when friends are like, go on, just have one. I was like, first of all, you know I don't drink, okay? That's like going to a fucking vegetarian and being like, yeah, just have one chicken nugget. What? You wouldn't do that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
But why do you think people feel so comfortable doing that?
It's weird, man. It's bizarre. It's like, okay, me having this drink or not having this drink, first of all, how does that impact you in any way, shape, or form? It's almost like they're taking this personally. Like, go and have a drink. No. Oh, you're so boring. It's 3:00 in the morning and I'm still here fucking sober. So it's clear that I'm not boring.
Yeah.
Secondly, no offense to you, but is your life that sad that me choosing to have a drink or not have a drink is so impactful on you.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's a deeper rooted issue though, why people are so in a way forceful of like, you should.
It's got nothing to do with me.
Well, because I'm even over here sitting, I'm a conscious drinker. Like I drink during certain social settings. When I feel like I just need a little weight lifted off me. I used to be a binge drinker and I used to like hide my feelings in it. But if somebody comes up to me and says, I'm sober, I never, ever would I be like, no, I think you need to drink this. Like, please, I would never beg somebody.
No, you were also born on the biggest drinking day in the calendar. All right? So you have an excuse.
I thought that was St. Patty's Day is the biggest drinking day. Christmas?
Christmas Day is pretty fucking big.
Okay.
But
what do you
yeah,
mean
St.
I have
Patrick's
an excuse,
Day.
though?
You have an excuse. No, I'm totally joking. But I think I think this comes down to I'm actually very happy we chose this topic now, because I think this comes down to two things, right? It's never about you, right? So if I choose to not drink and you're like, go on, have one. This has not got anything to do with me not drinking. This has got to do with something that you've got going on within you that you somehow think is going to get fixed by getting me to do the very thing that you want me to do, right? Maybe you're a big drinker yourself and getting me to drink makes you feel better about your own drinking habits. Maybe me not drinking and you're a big drinker and you've wanted to stop, but you can't for whatever reason. And me not drinking is triggering something in you where you feel like you're a failure. I don't know, right? But the bigger picture is most things in life, right, that people try and put on us, it never really has anything to do with us. It has to do with them trying to satisfy their own shit that they have going on by projecting it on you.
Completely. What do you do then when somebody is very forceful with you?
I say no.
And then what if they keep going?
If they keep going, I will kick them in the nutsack. No, I don't. That has not happened, just for the record. I just leave. Walk away. This is the other thing. I mentioned in the last episode I did with you about, not Power of Now, the other one, Untethered Soul.
Yeah.
Michael Singer. He talks about that in there. He says, for everything that you have going on in your life, right? Whatever you think, you have one thing which is stronger. And he calls it will, right? We know where there's a will, there's a way, willpower, all this sort of stuff. But that is a legitimate energy that every single one of us possesses. The problem is that most people don't exercise their will. Yeah? Much easier to give in than to actually stand your ground. But the message that I give everyone that asks me the same question, and usually they ask it about, well, how do I deal with people that keep putting pressure on me, is I say you just have to keep reminding yourself that you have the power to choose.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
Well, I think it's also harder too to completely.
But you have to exercise that power.
Yeah.
Which people don't.
I think in the long term too, it's harder actually on your mental state and your self-confidence when you do keep giving in. Because right now you might be like, oh, I'm just like feeding into this. I'm making the other person feel good. It's not that big of a deal. But eventually, if you know that's not what you want to be doing and you keep giving in, giving in, you're going to know that it's not good for you and it's going to have a negative outlook on how you view yourself, and you don't hold yourself accountable and your confidence goes down, in my opinion.
100%. Most people though want to avoid the immediate. Right? They want to avoid feeling pain or uncomfortableness in the immediate. So they're like, all right, I'll have that drink. I'll have that drink. I'll have that drink. And then down the line, they feel guilty or they feel bad or they feel like they're a failure because they couldn't say no. Right?
Yeah.
Well, if you had just gone through that uncomfortable situation.
That's with anything in life too. Anything.
If you just go through it, then it becomes easier down the line. Right? But we want to avoid. So what do? Is we avoid until we can't avoid anymore. Instead, if you just deal with it there and then, it's going to feel like shit. It might be uncomfortable. It might get tense. I don't know.
I'm just a big person on you pick your hard. It's either you pick the hard right now or you prolong your suffering even longer. Like, which one do you want? That's with anything in life too, not even just with peer pressure. I'm like, doing the hard thing that you know you have to do right away makes everything down the road 10 times easier. But also another question I want to ask you is, when do you think people got so opinionated on how other people should live their lives?
Always.
But why?
But because I think that's something that has always been ingrained in society, right? Expectations have always been there. So there's twofold, right? You look at the traditional expectations of you should get this degree, you should get this job. By this age, you should have found so-and-so. By this age, you should have been married. By this age, you should have kids, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Those expectations have existed throughout history.
Yes.
Right? And unfairly have always been skewed towards women, right? A woman should do this. A woman's place is this. A woman should have kids, blah, 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 right? Those expectations have existed for years. So there is let's just call them the traditional expectations of the job you should have, the degree you should have, the age you should get married, all of that. Now that obviously differs gender-wise.
Yeah, completely.
But it also differs vastly culturally as well, right? If you go to certain places like where I'm from in India, the expectation is that you get married younger, you have kids by a certain age, all of that. And that still kind of exists. You marry within your same religion, you marry within your same social setting, you marry within the community. That stuff still does exist, right? So those are your traditional expectations. But now we're living in a day and age because of the social medias of the world where there are these new age expectations based on the way that public figures or others are portraying themselves. So now there's an expectation that, oh, well, we all must be doing that, or I have to live that certain way in order to be acceptable.
Okay, what do you consider these new age expectations then?
How one should dress.
Okay.
How one should look. How, if you look at social media, a lot of it is to do with appearance.
Oh, for sure. And also...
That's what I mean. Like, for example, if someone's posting, the yacht.
Well, I was going to say, now we have expectations of what success is.
That's what, okay, I think that's actually the best way to
like, you have to be successful, and this is a definition of success. And if you haven't met this,
exactly, and this is what it looks like. So now people are trying to obtain these unrealistic goals based on some fucking random photo that someone's put up, which we don't even know if that's real.
Well, I was going to say, I don't even believe unrealistic, because I do believe where there's a will, there's a way. I just think that now people are idolizing things that were not actually meant for them anyways, or they think certain things like the money, the fame, the clothes are going to make them happy because that's what society tells them is going to make them happy. But then they, one, either get it, two, they don't reach it, and they never are actually happy.
We used to do this thing when I was teaching acting. You must have done this exercise as well, which was when you're breaking down a character, right? And I'm a very, very, very big believer of this question. What motivates someone, right? What is someone's driving factor? And a lot of the time you could see that certain characters you'd go around the class and you'd be like, what is this character motivated by? And they were like, money. I was like, okay, legitimate, but let's go deeper than that. Do you really think they're motivated by money? Or do you think that money is the vehicle which is going to give them the actual thing that they're motivated by? Big difference between the two, right? So if you're actually motivated by status, well, you can equate a lot of money with high status. So now I want to make money. Well, now your motivation isn't money. Money is the thing that's going to give you the thing which you are motivated by, which is status, right? If you want security, you're motivated by security because you came from a very bad upbringing. Well, now I know if I get rich, I won't have to worry about not eating or being out on the street, not having a roof over my head. Okay? Well, now money is the vehicle which is going to give you the thing which you're actually motivated by, which is security. And I think that's really important for people to figure out. What is it you really want? And differentiate between what is the thing that I want and what is the vehicle that is going to give me the thing that I want. Coming back full circle to what you said is that people see these things on social media and they think that if I have 10 sports cars in my garage, that's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
And then they get it and it doesn't make them happy. And then they think, why am I not happy? It's because you were never actually motivated by those sports cars in the beginning.
That's just what kind of society has told us will make us happy. Because you see the guy with the smiling face in the Ferrari or on the yacht or surrounded by beautiful women or men, if that's what you like. But we get these ideas of this is what's going to give me happiness. And that's because it's a societal standard in a way. Or we've made it seem like that.
How is it that you can walk down Hollywood Boulevard and see a homeless person, right? That is clearly in a bad condition, have the biggest fucking smile on their face?
I say it all the time when I go to Bali.
You see it all the time.
Yeah.
You go to India, you ever go to any, like Bali, you see real poor.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
slums.
Sleeping on cardboard.
See children who are malnourished and are, you know, everything that you see in these UNICEF adverts, you see it. But you see the fucking joy and the smile on their faces. And when you see that, this whole argument that, well, money is going to bring me happiness goes out the window.
And I'm curious your opinion, coming from a guy who has so much from what other people perceive wealth-wise. What is your definition then of happiness and health, like wealth and success? Because you're surrounded by a quote-unquote success, right? The money, you are surrounded by it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like,
what's your definition of success then? Because to everybody else, it looks like you have it all.
I think, I think success is, for me at least, is knowing that whatever happens, I made those choices.
Okay.
Do you know what it means? It means owning, and that's what I actually think freedom is as well. Real freedom is knowing that you have the power to choose. Instead of looking as outcome and results as success, I look at real power and real success comes from I chose to do this.
Okay.
As opposed to what the outcome might be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. In a sense, confidence in yourself in a way.
Confidence in yourself, but confidence in yourself has to come to confidence in the decisions you make, regardless of what the outcome is, right? Because what could happen is that it's like, let's say I make a decision. I'm trying to think of something right now, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Well, then it's very easy to be like, this was a failure because the result wasn't the result I wanted. Whereas I look at success as, no, it's successful because I made the choice that I wanted to make, regardless of what the outcome was.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes along with my version of success. I feel like, to me, as long as you're true to who you are, because I'm a woo-woo person, I do believe at our core, we're all good human beings and we want to help each other and we want to move forward with the best intentions. To me, as long as you stay true to who you are and you don't let all this outside noise phase you and you walk your own path, you beat to the path of your own drum and you're confident in yourself as well as it's for the good of all and the harm of none. Like, to me, that is what I find successful, is like you found a way to make peace with yourself and the world around you and to just kind of go through life.
Kind of like exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that you're making peace with the decisions you've made, regardless of then putting the emphasis on what the outcome is.
So how do you think people go about toning out, in a way, the outside world and all these perceptions of what we should be or should have?
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Honestly, by doing a lot of work.
Okay.
And by doing work is that by really understand. First of all, I think it comes from, and this is maybe the hardest bit of it, is coming to the realization that we do have the power to choose. But the majority of people don't want to choose, right?
This is facts.
People would rather be told what to do, right? If you see a flock, you can only have one shepherd. You can have as many sheep as you want, but you can only have one shepherd. The majority of people are happy to just be part of the flock and be told what to do. Two reasons. One, they don't have to think, right? It's very easy. And secondly, they don't have to take any ownership, because if shit goes sideways, they can blame it on someone else.
Okay.
So I think in order to be able to, you know, break free or whatever you want to call it, you have to first of all acknowledge that you have the power, and then take ownership and responsibility of the decisions that you want to make.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. That's so funny you mentioned that, because somebody's recently told me that nobody actually wants to be to their own drum or kind of take accountability for their actions. But if anybody is looking to kind of go against societal standards, something that I tell myself all the time is everything at one point in this world was made up. Somebody made up these rules.
That's exactly what I said.
So I'm like, why can't I make up my own?
There's a book that I love called Conversations with God. It's one of my favorite books. And this guy, Neil Donald Walsh, basically very angry. Shit's not going right in his life or something. And he starts penning an angry letter to God. And he says, and the whole book is about this, that God started answering him. And he started asking questions, and he was given all the answers, and he started writing it down. People say he was on psychedelics, he was on this. I don't give a fuck. It's a very good book.
Okay.
But one thing he writes in it, he asks God. God tells him, after you write this, you need to publish this and put it in the world. And he says, yeah, but won't people think that, like, it's bullshit, or like it's arrogance that God spoke to me?
Mm-hmm.
And God replied saying, people don't question that Moses went into a fucking burning bush and came out with 10 commandments. So if Moses can talk to God, why can't you? And that was the whole point to it, right? Is that someone had to have done this for us to have believed it. So if someone else can come up with the way we should live, why can't you come up with the way you should live?
Yeah.
If someone somewhere came up with something, well, why shouldn't you or anyone in the world be able to come up with something different?
I completely agree with that. That's why I'm like, everything's made up. I can make my own stuff up. But would you give any advice to those people where they want to change something, but it just seems like there is too much resistance? They are too worried.
I do. Yeah. I would say that it does take that time to really, really take inventory. And you have to sit with yourself and ask yourself, like, I want to make this change. What is stopping me? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it fear? Okay, if it's fear, what am I fearful of? Am I fearful of being, like, what's the word? Like when you get
Judged?
Well, fear of judgment, that's one.
Yes.
Is it fear of
failure?
loss of is it fear of failure? Is it fear of loss of community? Like my friend group, they may ostracize me. What is the thing that you're fearful of? And then figure out, okay, is that a real fear or is it an irrational fear?
Okay.
Okay. And then you have to really ask yourself that, okay, let's say I stop drinking and I'm scared that my friends are going to stop liking me.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hope that that won't happen. But then you have to think to yourself, you're like, you know what, honestly, if it does happen, how good a friend were they in the beginning?
Are they even your friend?
Are
Yeah.
they even your friends? If a friend can't support you through what you do. So I think it's getting very good at investigating and asking yourself, okay, I want to do this, but I don't feel like I can do it, which is fine. You don't have to put pressure on yourself. We do put too much pressure on ourselves. Just figure out slowly and calmly and gently with yourself, why do I think I can't do it? And then once you've broken it down, I think sometimes you can be like, oh, actually, a lot of this is irrational. And it just falls away by itself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think, too, people are definitely scared of being an outcast. They're scared of losing people. But what's been super prevalent in my life is every time I've done something that wasn't for somebody in my friend group I'm surrounded with, somebody judges me, there's also a bunch of other people that resonate with the thing that I'm doing. I think we often forget that this world is so huge and vast, and we do have so many different outlooks on things. Okay, so what? Like your family and your friends don't understand what you're doing. There's a whole nother community out there that will probably appreciate it and praise you for doing something out of your comfort zone and doing something new.
And then eventually you get to a point beyond that where, as long as you're happy, it doesn't matter who else is out there. That's where I'm at, like my life, and I tell my wife knows this as well. I live my life 100% by the book of Sid Mallya. And I promise you, and that might sound arrogant, that might sound whatever. And I am the only person that knows what's best for me. I am the only person that knows what I like and don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how I come up with this book? I haven't fucking reinvented the wheel. I've taken learnings from different texts, books, religions, whatever. And I figured out the ones that work for me. And I've let go of things that work for others. It's again coming back to acting. It's what I tell people when I used to teach them acting. They're like, oh, teach me how to act. What's your process? I said, I haven't got a fucking process. My process is I went to 20 different places and I took the best bits from each one and made a process that works for me. And I really think that's what you have to do in life.
I agree.
It's not all or nothing, right? You can take certain bits of things that work and let go of the bits that don't resonate with you.
I love how you said that. Just before we were talking about subjects and our engineer here had said, talk about your president. And I'm like, president, I live in my own little world, honey. Like I am my president. Engineer. Our
He's
dear
the
friend,
producer.
whatever you want to call him.
He's the main
He
man.
was my engineer.
Who should get a legitimate shout out.
Joseph, we love you.
Yeah. Yeah. Leave this in there, please. Engineer.
He was my engineer. Now I'm the engineer, you guys. But long story, I live in my own world. Whatever. On that note, then, who do you think made up these bizarre rules that we have to live by, though? When did it become a thing? I know you said from the dawn of time, but what propaganda do you think's behind it? Do you think there's a propaganda behind it?
Well, no. I mean, I think if you want to go back to the dawn of the human race, certain rules came about simply because it was a matter of survival, right? You know what I mean?
But we're not in a matter of survival all the time now. Everyone thinks that we're constantly dying and freaking out, and we're not like that anymore.
Yeah, but I think that I think there's twofold. I think that there's a control aspect of it, right? Where there is definitely things that are put out there because people want to control people, keep them in line for whatever reasons. In terms of societal standards, I think it's funny because the standard keeps changing, and you could be very happily living by societal standards one day, and then the next day society's standards have changed so much that you're now not living, and in order to keep up with societal standards, you have to keep relearning new things anyway. Well, if you're going to have to relearn what the new standards are, why not just learn what works for you instead?
I agree with that. I wonder if you agree with this. Is something that I constantly tell myself when it's a new standard, when it's somebody telling me how things are supposed to be done or it should be this way. Nothing is that serious. When I go throughout life and I'm like, I can change my perspective whenever I want to, because I feel like when people decide to put something out to the world, they often tie themselves to it and they're like, this is me now. It doesn't have to be.
Well, then that's also the reason why people don't want to have any sort of discourse anymore either, is because I might have a viewpoint. You might have a viewpoint. We will sit down and chat and hopefully disagree. Well, how else are you going to get another?
I love disagreements because I love different perspectives.
You disagree. But I think the word disagreement has too many negative connotations around it.
But why,
the
though?
word disagreement doesn't have to mean it's
an argument.
An argument.
Yes.
No. A disagreement means that you have your perspective, I have my perspective. Maybe by just listening to you, I will learn something or get to see something from an angle that I didn't see before, or something that I didn't know before, and vice versa. Right? And then maybe at the end of it, I can come out being like, you know what, you've shown me a different side, and I have changed my opinion. Right? The majority of people, though, don't want to even have those conversations because they've invested their identity so much in their beliefs that should someone shake their belief system, they see it as their whole identity crumbling. Right? So they don't not only allow others to think differently, they don't allow themselves to change the way they think, like you just said, because they see it as a loss in who they are. And
but God forbid you lose who you are. I'm all like, I'm happy to rediscover something new about myself and find something that I disagree about myself. If I could change one societal standard, it's like, stop feeling like you have to label absolutely everything and something is good or something is bad. Kind of sick of it's you against me. We can't be together and still be in different outlooks or views or societies.
I think you do need to know who you are in order to make the changes that you want to make in life. But I'd go a step further and say you need to know who you are at this point in time.
Yes. Okay.
That's the difference, right? Who you were 10 minutes ago isn't technically the same as who you are right now.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the thing. Like now there are certain ages where when I used to teach the 21-year-olds acting, I was like, you're not meant to know who you are right now. You're still figuring it out. But you get to a certain age like I am now, and I'm like, yeah, I know who I am. But I also give myself room that in a year's time, I'm not going to probably be who I am today. If I still try and cling on to who I am today, then I don't give myself room for growth or to evolve, right? So I do think it's important to know who you are, but who you are at this moment, as opposed to trying to have it figured out of who you're going to be for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I don't think that who you are necessarily is all these labels that you attach to yourself either, though. I think who you are is, in a way, an essence, and that might not ever change. It's like your heart and like, I don't know if this makes sense. It's a little woo, but like your energy, like you knowing in your heart and your soul that like you're just this person and what you want to radiate. But like you can do that in so many different outlooks or ways. It's the labels, I feel like, is what gets people. To me, knowing who you are is a sensation. It's not labels. It's not me going to hike in the mountains one day and then putting on a suit and go coaching people the next day. It's just my personality and an essence. I wish I could describe it better if you know what I'm talking about.
No, I get what you mean, but I think it's like not mixing up who you are with what you do.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's what I feel like a lot of people mix up.
You go and hike, and then you go and work in the hospital, then you come and do this, and then you go to Bali, whatever it is. Those situations have changed.
Yeah.
You
but
have
not
not
me.
changed, right? But this comes back to what I said. Like people identify too much in what they do and what they believe, and believe that is then their whole personality.
So right now, if I were to ask you, who are you, what would you say? Who said?
It's one of those things that I don't think I could put into words.
It's so hard, but yeah.
You can't. Like, I think there are certain things. It's like when you go and do these like plant journeys, right? And then the next morning they make you sit around in a circle and they're like, all right, let's share our experiences. I was like, I don't fucking know what experience I had. First of all, I'm still in it. And secondly, it was such a visceral experience that now trying to put it into words isn't actually going to do justice to what it is that I went through. So I think it's the same thing with this, where it's like, who is Sid right now? I can just say that Sid is at peace and very comfortable with who he is. But if you ask me to put into a word who I am,
he is, yeah.
I don't know, right? Does that make sense? I don't think there's a word that could really describe that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So two things in regards to that. I love the integration part after a plant medicine journey.
Every day I'm like, bro, can we do this like 3 days later?
But this is okay. So me being me, the intellectual, analytical, like spiritual being, loving of words person, I sit down with my pen and paper and I'm like, I need to come up with something in depth. I need to find a way to put this experience into words.
Okay, now let me just pause you for 1 second.
Yes.
Let's come from full circle, because there is an expectation
Yes.
that everyone else in the group is going to do that, so I have to do it.
So get this though, everybody else in the group did do that. But I was at a point where I'm like, it took me maybe like 2 seconds too. At first, that's what I wanted to do. But all I did was write, I think it was something along the lines of, I don't know what to say, ... but what the fuck is what I wrote on my paper. And then our guides went around and read everybody's paper without names on it because they wanted it to be like, we don't want anyone to feel judged by what they put. So it was random, even though usually in those circles it's very welcoming. And since mine was the only one like that, they didn't even ask who it was, but they were like, damn, that's the most real answer that we have heard yet. Because they've been through the experience too. You would hope if they're guiding you, they're like, this is exactly how I felt the first time of me doing it, the second time on this other journey. And I was actually applauded for just the one being fucking honest and not trying to think so much about it. So I love how you brought that up, is because me just going off of my instinct, it was like that probably brought the most conversation to the group versus anything else. Two is, once again, I think you said, I don't even know how to describe me, is I think based on society, we are expected to label ourselves right from a day. You are your name, right? Then you belong to this family, then you belong to this town, then you belong to this job. And then people have certain perceptions on you based on what you choose. And that's why we put such a heavy responsibility on what we choose to do in life, is because people will judge you, quote unquote, judge you based on what you do. But who cares if people judge you? And that's why I love conversations like this, because it's like the more that we could talk about people being multidimensional and faceted and having all these things, that does not mean it's only them, is the more I hope people step out of their comfort zone and decide I can do all these different things and I don't have to go with societal norms, because there is actual no societal norm. Somebody just made something up one day, and hopefully the norm can be everybody's different one day.
Yep.
That's my little rant for this.
100%. And I agree with you. Look, I think it is still also worth kind of mentioning that, you know, we both of us are very blessed and very fortunate that we are in positions where we can also choose to have these sorts of conversations, and then not only have the conversation, but actively pursue the things that we want to do. Right? That there just isn't a reality for everyone, right? And you know, every spiritual book will tell you, but it is. At a certain level, it is. But of course, there are limitations, right?
I'm not going to say, because you're talking to somebody who doesn't believe and can't, but I'm not going to say that's not without its trials and tribulations.
No,
I do understand that for other people, it's definitely difficult.
Well, it's also we are in a position where we can go after these things, right? If you're someone that has no freaking money and you don't know where your next meal is going to come from,
it's definitely,
this isn't a priority, right? So that's what I also think. I also think that it is a privilege, honestly, to be able to go on these journeys, because otherwise it's not necessarily the first thing. First thing for a lot of people out there, no matter where you are in the world, is, listen, I just need to survive today. So the only reason I want to put this, I wanted to make that point, is just because, you know, to acknowledge that we, and I'm sure a lot of the people watching this as well, are fortunate that we can have these sorts of conversations and explore these kinds of things. Where, yeah, I do think that for most of us, I mean, we always have free choice, but for a lot of people, that free choice is within a sort of limit.
Yeah, within a realm, within a reach,
Yeah.
so to say. So to kind of close out then, for those people who they're in the middle, they feel like it's in reach, but they still don't know how to grasp it, what would be your best advice moving forward for them? If they want to learn to not care so much about societal standards and beat to their own drum.
I would really, we can't even share this on this because it's a podcast, but
why?
we had no, I can share it, but I'm going to say is that we had that thing in the acting studio, right? When you were building a character, which was like 40 questions of what are my, and you'd answer these questions as your character. Like, what are my hopes, my dreams, my fears? What did I want to be when I was younger? How different is that to today? Do I feel good about myself?
It's pretty much a list about discovering your character, but I remember Anthony even said, do it about yourself. Or did you say, do it about yourself?
I actually did. I did a bridge version of it, 20 questions of it in my book. So buy my book.
I was going to say, can I link it to this episode?
You can link it to the episode.
Okay, cool.
But there's like 20 questions in it, which is like, if you were to honestly answer these questions about yourself, like, who am I? Where am I from? Easy. But what are my hopes? What are my dreams? What are my fears? What are my desires? What am I attracted to? What am I repulsed by? All these sorts of things. If you can really answer those questions truthfully about you, and I think everyone should do this. And again, this is something that you do for yourself. You don't share it with anyone or anything. You can, but you can do it for yourself. But for it to be effective, you have to really be honest.
Anything in life, I think you have to be brutally honest, especially when it comes to yourself, to get the results that you need.
100%. Yeah. It can be uncomfortable though. But if you can really answer that and really look and be like, wow, shit, like this is what I really want, then you can figure out, okay, what are the steps I need to take to achieve that? That's the advice I'd give people. Take steps. don't expect massive miracles to happen overnight, because if you've been a certain way for 30 years, you aren't going to be able to just change like that. And if you expect that you are and you don't, that's when people start getting, like disheartened, and they start feeling like bad about it. No, just take your time and it'll happen.
That's what I was going to say too. Obviously have a vision of what you want and where you want to go, but stop being so attached to it and just picture the next step in front of you, because breaking it down to the tiny things versus this massive thing will make it more reachable for you and realistic.
100%.
As well as there was a quote recently I read. I wish I remember who said it, but it said something like, everybody's going to have an opinion, but not everybody is going to have to walk the path you choose in life. So that's something that really stung with me. When anybody has an opinion about your life, realize that they're not the one who's going to have to walk it. It's you.
No, of course. And it's very easy to pass judgment and give an opinion when you actually don't have any consequence.
Yeah.
Right? If it's very easy for someone to give their opinion from the outside when they really don't have anything to lose by it.
Yeah. So take that how you will, but I thought that was very motivating for me and beautiful.
Very cool.
So once again, Sid, thank you for joining me. It's always a fun time. And thank you guys for listening. Until next time, I love you.
Bye.
Bye. That's an interesting one.
What, that?